Thank you very much, and the warmest welcome to everybody, dear colleagues. So AI is huge. It has infinite number of topics and issues it raises: legal, ethical, moral, privacy policy, intellectual property, philosophical, what the humans has to do in the next 10 years with this AI. And hopefully I managed to explain what is under the hood. So you will, when you leave the conference, I hope that you will know much more about the AI. And if you will have a debate or an argument with anybody, you will be armored with much more insight what's happening in the AI. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am the virtual assistant created by the Bankers Friend Forever company BFF to assist bankers in their daily tasks. How may I assist you today?
How do you feel?
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
You got a good human sense of humor. No, really, how do you feel?
I am thrilled to demonstrate my abilities.
Good to hear. What are your abilities?
As a virtual assistant...
Shorter, please. It likes to talk.
Sure, I can help with tasks related to banking products and services, account management, transactions, customer support, generating reports, loan applications, financial advice, and fraud prevention.
Okay, I just had to talk some of you about the compliance, so let's ask. Do you happen to be familiar with compliance in the banking industry?
Yes, I am familiar with compliance in the banking industry. Compliance is an important aspect of banking, and it involves ensuring that the bank is following all relevant laws, regulations, and policies. This includes things like anti-money laundering AML regulations, know your customer KYC requirements, and data privacy laws. If you have any specific compliance-related questions, I would be happy to try and assist you.
Thank you. It's quite general. Let's be more specific. What Python framework could be used for fraud detection?
Python has...
Just a short bullet point list, please. It's very rare it can talk to bankers, so this is why it's...
Sure, here's a short bullet point list of Python frameworks that can be used for fraud detection. Scikit-learn, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras.
Let's be even more specific. Let's pick a problem, a concrete specific problem, and ask a solution for that. Show me a Python code that would detect suspicious items in a large set of transactions and put it on a graph and use the latest neural network architecture. It's not an IVR, an option that one, please press, it has to understand.
Sure, here's an example code that uses a neural network to detect suspicious transactions and plots the results on a graph.
It's a valid Python code that would do the task. So far, I wanted to demonstrate that in its niche domain, banking industry is everything but niche. It really understands my intentions, but it has a much broader horizon of understanding. Actually, it doesn't understand anything. Create a cubist oil painting about a bank robbery. For that, it has to understand cubist oil painting.
There may be a delay, so please be understanding.
What does it mean to be a delay? Bank robbery means it is a cubist, it is an oil painting, and there is a bank, and it's even better. It could go to auction. But of course, its creativity can be used for much more important and much more significant use case. For example, create a designer woman's shoe inspired by Barcelona. For that, it has to understand woman's shoe, Barcelona.
No issue. It may take some time, so please be tolerant.
Inspiring, what does it mean? It is a woman's shoe, inspired Barcelonish woman's shoe. It can do better, I think. I could sell it on Facebook, really. Okay, let's take a risk, a bigger risk. Let this AI go out to the real world, to the internet, do things there, acquire some information, and bring it back to us. So I will push the button and let this AI out to the real world, and hopefully it will come back. What are the main headlines on Wall Street Journal? Now, first it has to figure out what is the website that I'm interested in, because the Wall Street Journal is not a website, it's a company. So it has to figure out that this is the vsg.com, and it has to read and understand what is there and extract the headlines, which might be important. So Tesla deal making, okay, I'm interested in Tesla. Please elaborate the news regarding to Tesla.
Tesla has reported a 24% decline in Q1 profit due to rounds of price cuts aimed at combating weaker demand and increased competition for their electric vehicles.
To make this one-sentence summarization, it had to understand the whole article, what it is, and it has to have a representation, an abstraction of the world, what Tesla means, what everything means. AI can and will have personality, and it's time for banks to think about what personality you would like to see in your banking mobile application, because it will have a personality. Should it be a friendly, direct one, or should it be a more distant, professional one? It's a very interesting question, by the way. It can have a sentimental side, romantic side. So let's take a little bit this sentimental side of AI. Write a poem, a romantic poem about banks. That's a tough one. Romance, banks, where it rhymes together, but.
Here's a short romantic poem about banks. In the world of finance, where numbers reign, there's a place where love and money meet again. It's a bank where hearts and wallets intertwine.
Play a romantic song from Debussy. Please repeat the poem now.
Sure, here's the romantic poem about banks again. In the world of finance, where numbers reign, there's a place where love and money meet again. It's a bank where hearts and wallets intertwine, and the passion for profit is oh so divine. The tellers smile, the customers flirt, as they exchange cash and credit with a little dessert. The vault is a treasure trove of love and wealth, where the currency of affection is the truest form of health. So let us raise a glass to the banks we adore, where love and money are forevermore. May our accounts be full, our hearts be true, and our passion for banking never be through.
I couldn't say it better. Stop. Thank you. Thank you. This was the demonstration part. Now I would come the explain part. I would like to explain and show you what is under the hood, what is happening behind the AI, because I'm pretty much sure everybody heard about ChatGPT and all the AIs and everything that revolutionized everything, but I'm not sure if any of us really understand what is happening there, what is under the hood, so I make an attempt to explain. Show me the second presentation, please.
Didn't you forget to show the Google document usage first?
I did. Show me the demo document, please.
Impress your audience with how AI can be utilized to enhance Google Documents.
I will do my best, believe me. So I would like to demonstrate that this interaction, IT, human interaction, will really change everything and it will be integrated everywhere. I mean, everywhere. Microwave ovens, coffee machines, cars, refrigerators, websites, mobile application, including banking mobile application, chatbots, everywhere, including documents, Excels, and everything. So let me show you how the content creation will work in the very near future. Let's say that I would like to have a privacy policy for my mobile application, which I actually have to have. So write privacy policy for property. Okay, so you write the instruction and you just somehow trigger that, okay, please help me. If everything goes right, there will be a privacy policy template for my mobile application, which is a property finder mobile application, where I just have to fill out the blank spaces with the company-specific things, and here it is. Privacy policy information we collect, how you use the information, and all the other things. Or write me an opening for my keynote speech for bankers about AI, housing, ecosystem, and banks. Yeah, this is it. So now it thinks. Is it thinking? It has a coffee with AI friends, and here it is. And if I would like to have an illustration, an image, for example, I can put there that, okay, beautiful, create a cute little robot in Pixar style. I love Pixar. It might take a while because drawing a robot takes at least 10 seconds. So, but in exchange, I hope it will be a cute one, and really a Pixar-style robot one. There it is. How do you like it? So this is how you will create content. You just give instructions, and it will do the rest. Let's go back to presentation and show me the second presentation, please. I have to be polite because when they dominate the world, they have to remember that I was the one who was really polite with the Robot King. What is happening under the hood? The whole AI can be compressed and summarized in one word, which is abstraction. Everything around us are abstractions. There is no such thing family. You cannot point the object, this object is the family. It's an abstraction that we learn during our life. There's bear family, there's family of products, there's human family, even banks, money are abstractions. Culture, math, language, communication, everything is based on abstractions. This is what elevates the human race from the animals during the evolution, that the human brain are capable of doing very deep, complex abstractions of the world. And this is exactly what's happening now in the AI. AI today learn to make as complex abstractions as we human do. In the human brain, abstraction works the following. So if you see an image of a cat or a dog or taste a lemon, let's take the cat, the photons arrive to your retinas where there are cells, neuron cells, and some of the cells will activate, some of not, will skip, and this has a patterns of a cat, and it triggers biochemical reactions that goes to your brain and activate different parts of the brains. And this different part activation is the abstraction that how you realize a cat or a dog or a document or your mom or anybody. Very same happening in the AI, but instead of chemical reactions, which might happen, it will later, now the image is transformed to an abstractions as a vector called embedding. Vector is just a bunch of numbers, 1,000 numbers, for example, in rows, with the meaningful numbers. So the cat and what makes something a cat is transformed to vectors. And this is very important, because with vectors, the AI can do operations. They can do arithmetical operations. They can add two vectors together. They can subtract vectors. They can measure how far two vectors are from each other. You can imagine it as like this, that there's the knowledge space of the AI, and all the input images where the corresponding vectors are, where the images show similar features in some aspect. It can be customer features as well. Here, all of these are animals. All the vectors show small differences. Between the landscapes show small differences. Between vehicles show small differences. But between groups, there are much bigger differences. You can interpret the vectors as it specify a place, a grid over there where the input belongs to. Let it be an image or a customer. You can imagine it like this. You take the vector that corresponding to the word king, you subtract the vector that corresponding to the word man, and you add the vector that is corresponding to the word woman, and you will get the vector in the space which is corresponding to the word queen. I cannot emphasize enough how important slide and thing this is. It means that the AI captures the world and understands the world with these embeddings and totally perfectly understand more than the humans. What are the relations between things, between documents, between words, between customers, between patterns, between ratings, share, prices, everything. And one more important thing, it captures the understanding in any language. What happens today and what explodes everything, that all the knowledge, all the human history knowledge that you can find on the internet as reviews, as surveys, as blog posts, as videos, as Wikipedia, as anything, now available language regardless, language independent, because everything has been transformed into meaningful vectors. So if there's a mathematical, I don't know, paper in Urdu, it is immediately accessible in any other language because it's represented in vectors now. So you can imagine like this, the embedding space. For example, plaintiff, defendant, trial is very similar meanings. It's in this part of the knowledge space. But this is the knowledge space of the AI. And it includes words, expression, documents, customer, websites, everything transformed into meaningful vectors. And it's fun as well. So for example, if you take the embedding vector corresponding to the word woof, which what the dog says, and you subtract the embeddings that corresponding to the dog, if you think about it, it's very abstract. What this vector, the result vector, means is something like sound of something. So if you add the bird, the embedding vectors which correspond to the word cat, you will get meow. If you replace the cat with the Santa Claus, you will get a ho, 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 ho. And it's a valid question. What does the fox say? I leave it to you. How smart is the AI? The smartness, the intelligence of the AI is measured on the parameters, how many parameters it has been trained on. Basically, when there's an image, it goes, all the pixels goes into this neural network and transform into embeddings. And the parameters are these weights, what makes this transformation. And the more parameters it has, the more abstract, more higher level of abstractions it can produce. Today, as you know, the ChatGPT, which is the most intelligent at the moment, but Google has already announced a bigger one, announced that it has not less than 175 billions of parameters. It's huge. It's a big, big, big number. The human brain has 100 billion neurons, and they say that one neuron approximately has around 1,000 connections to other neurons, which means that in the human brain, there are around 100 trillion connections, and the connections is the one which is related to parameters. When you learn during your life, some connections get stronger. If you get a positive feedback, the connections are getting stronger. Some connections getting weaker if you get a punishment or something. The very same happens in the AI today. However, there's a huge difference between the human brain and the AI. Human brain, our brain, basically was the same 100,000 years ago. And it will be more or less the same 100,000 years later. The AI, just in the couple of last years, 1 year, month, shows stratospheric, exponential growth. It started with a couple of dozen in the 50s, and when I was starting to work with AI in the 90s, I worked with AIs with a couple of thousands. Facebook, Google came into the picture. They got tens, hundreds of millions of users, and they required a system which can provide, as you know, tailor-made personalized advertisements and messaging. And it give a boost for artificial intelligence system with millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of parameters. And 2020, OpenAI announced its ChatGPT engine with 175 billion of parameters. So this is the growth, exponential growth it exhibits. Nobody knows what this AI today is capable of. Elon Musk, Steve Wozniak just signed a petition that let's make a pause. Let's first digest what it do and what impact it will have on our life. It's more than an iPhone moment or internet moment. When the human race met with the internet, we had the time to adapt. When we met Steve Jobs' iPhone, everybody has a smartphone in the earth, but we had the time to adapt for that change. With AI, we don't. It's so dramatically huge, and it has an impact in everything in the world, everything. The big fear is that the human race never met with this kind of immersed technology before, never. And there's a fear that we just can't cope with it, we just can't adapt. It will be so quick that we don't know the consequences, legal, ethical, moral, compliance, and anything. Nobody knows what the AI is capable of today. You can imagine what will happen, and it will happen very soon. In the near future, it will reach the parameters of the human brain. What will it be capable of then? And believe me, it won't stop there. It will just grow, 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 grow. That, I think, makes the next decades one of the most interesting decades in the history. So we are witnessing it very close. But I'm very optimistic, and I'm really evangelist of using the AI, understand the AI, make more and more this type of discussion, embrace and understand what it's capable of, and make an ethical use and reasonable and responsible use of AI. So it's important to have these talks. When a new AI system born, it's like just a newborn baby. It knows nothing. In its knowledge space, dogs, cats are on random places. And once you start to teach it just the same way as you teach your children, so this is a cat, this is a dog, this is a whatever, it starts to understand and extract the features, abstract and understand the features, what makes something a dog, what makes something a cat, and start to learn how to create these embedding vectors which will reflect the cattish features, the doggish features. So it starts to make an order, okay, and it's knowledge base, there will be the cat, there will be the dogs. Of course, in the real use case, there are much more groups, dozens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of images. Here there are images of cats, dogs, dancing, koala, children. In the same way, it shows this is children, this is a dancing pair, this is dog, this is cat, this is a koala, and it starts to learn how to create these embedding vectors. And when you train it, and it learns the concept, what makes something a dog, what makes something a children, what makes something a koala or dancing, you can instruct this AI that, okay, now create me a dancing dog. And what it will do, it will take the vector, the mean vector of the dogs, it takes the mean vector of the dancing, and takes the average of this, add together and divide it by 2. And this vector will create a dancing dog. And you can do the same with koalas. It takes the vectors of the koalas, takes the vectors of dancing, get the average of it, and this will be a dancing koala or a dancing toddler. But of course, banks are not interested. They are, but the main focus in the core business has nothing to do with koalas. It's more about customers. For the AI, it doesn't matter if it's koalas, kitties, dancing, dogs, whatever, or customers or prospects who might need a private banking in 6 months, or a customers who will get married soon, where there might be babies coming and they will need a mortgage loan in 1 year, or a customers who will most likely go bankrupt. Nobody knows it yet, but there's the pattern, and the AI realizes it. So for the AI, it doesn't matter what are these groups, but for the banks, it does matter. And the AI can super sharply put customers in these groups if it has data. And now we arrived to the third section, because the fuel of the AI is the data. This is where the ecosystem came into picture. The most innovative banks on the world, mainly retail banks. In Hungary, there are 2, for example, the OTP and KBC as well, Kantha, realized that they have to do something differently. Something changed. And this is the ecosystem concept. It's not enough anymore if there's a prospect who are looking for a mortgage loan and they put into Google, I would like to have a mortgage loan, and you make a Google campaign, adverts, and you are the one between 20 banks with your interest rate. It's not enough anymore. Banks must understand where the customer standing in its journey, in its more complex, holistic journey, in this case, the housing ecosystem. It can be an educational ecosystem or health ecosystem. Whatever ecosystem it talks about, the customer has a journey in this ecosystem, and the banks has to understand where this customer stands. What is the main problem of the customers? It's not anymore a single value proposition. It's not enough. And the most banks start to move into the ecosystem concept, and mainly the housing ecosystem concept. Why? Because everybody on the earth have, and always will have housing issues. A student go to the city, they need to live somewhere, so they have to find a rent, an affordable rent, which is very difficult for a student. The student finished the university, they got their first job, they go to the capital, they had to find a rent, which is challenging, but also at this point they might need a bank account where the salary will arrive. He or she got promoted, marriage, baby come, they might want to buy a home, so they might need a mortgage loan as well. They move in, and of course the wife wants to restructure the whole furniture and refurnish and make a renovation. They need an electrician and plumber. I don't have to describe how difficult it is to find a good electrician, plumber, local experts. It's challenging, but also they might need a loan, personal loan, to finance the renovation. A new baby is coming. They have to move to a bigger home. They have to sell the present property. It's difficult to sell a property. How much does it worth? Should I hire an agent or not? If I should, which one? In the same time, if somebody sells a property, they might need a saving account. So banks realized that providing free solutions for these challenges has two consequences. First, they can address hundreds of thousands of new prospects with these solutions in the early stage, when they don't need exactly a mortgage loan yet, but they will in a year. But more importantly, it will provide data about the context of the customer, what type of property it has. It's a $2 million house they are looking for. What is their challenging? So they can get contextual data and more data. And I think in these days where Google, Facebook, Amazon, Alibaba, Microsoft knows everything about their users, everything, they start to provide financial services. I just read that Apple introduced in the last couple of days high yield saving accounts, 4.15%. Google Insurance, Google Pay, Apple Pay, Amazon Loan, they start to provide financial services embedding in their service. So I think for banks, it's time to think yourself more a data company with banking license and monetize the data that you have and start to think about new approaches, housing ecosystem approaches, where you can acquire much more data and provide much better user experience and know your customer better. This is what we do. By the way, we make a lot of pilots. And during the last 1.5 years, we have extreme results and extreme efficiency providing housing ecosystem solution to students, to young mothers, to people who get promoted, to get married. Enormous data is coming, which can be incorporated in the credit scoring, offering laser-sharp, tailor-made services, and know your customer much better. Write me a closing to my keynote speech to bankers about AI, banks and housing ecosystem integration, make it motivational and inspirational. And make it shorter, please.
In conclusion, the integration of AI, banks, and housing ecosystem is about empowering people to achieve their goals and aspirations. Let's embrace this new era of banking and work together to build a brighter future for all. Thank you.
Punchline. Say it on my voice. What am I doing on the stage then?
Sure, no problem. In conclusion, the integration of AI, banks, and housing ecosystem is about empowering people to achieve their goals and aspirations. Let's embrace this new era of banking and work together to build a brighter future for all. Thank you.